Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Newton County Board of Education joint meeting. If you would bow your head for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. May we stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have any special recognition?
Yes, Mr. Turner, we sure do. Tonight, we have an outstanding group of educators in attendance who our school board elected to recognize again. The members of our education team who are here this evening are the 2018-2019 Teachers of the Year. As you may know, these teachers were recently celebrated at our Teacher of the Year reception on October 4th when the school system, in conjunction with the Newton County Chamber of Commerce and their chamber champions, honored 23 teachers. Each teacher received a commemorative plaque from the Coca-Cola Bottling Company and a Teacher of the Year certificate from the Chamber of Commerce. Our 2019 Teacher of the Year, Mr. Lewis Kelly, also received a check for $1,000 on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and their chamber champions, and he also received a 3-month car rental that is free from Covington Ford. Our Board of Education also wanted to take a moment to publicly recognize each of our 2018-2019 Teachers of the Year in a special celebration to honor their outstanding accomplishment. Last year, during our budgeting cycle, the Board of Education decided by unanimous vote to enhance our Teacher of the Year program by providing a financial reward to complement the Chamber of Commerce's generous gifts. This marks the first year that each teacher selected as a school-level Teacher of the Year will receive a monetary stipend on behalf of the Newton County School System and the Newton County Board of Education. Going forward, each teacher selected as a school-level Teacher of the Year will receive a $1,000 stipend from the Board of Education. Our 2 runners-up for District Teacher of the Year will receive a stipend of $1,500, and our district winner will receive a check for $2,000. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome and honor our very first cohort of Teachers of the Year in our Newton County School System Teacher of the Year recognition program. Teachers, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your award from the Newton County School Board Chair, Mr. Almond Turner. Ms. Alicia Duran. Ms. Duran is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for East Newton Elementary School. We thank you for your service, Ms. Duran. Gotta get your picture taken. Ms. Kim McSwain. Ms. McSwain is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Flint Hill Elementary School, and we thank her for her service as well. Congratulations. Ms. Christina Smith. Ms. Smith is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Herd Mixon Elementary School, and we congratulate and thank Ms. Smith for her service. Ms. Karen Prather. Ms. Prather is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Live Oak Elementary School, and we thank her for her service to our students and families. Ms. Donna Nelson. Ms. Nelson is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Livingston Elementary School, and we congratulate and thank Ms. Donna Nelson as well. Ms. Scarlett Temple. Ms. Temple is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Mansfield Elementary School, and we honor and celebrate Ms. Temple as well. Ms. Jennifer Allen. Ms. Allen is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Middle Ridge Elementary School, and we congratulate and celebrate Ms. Allen. Miss Katie Sauls. Miss Sauls is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for the Newton County Theme School, and we honor and recognize Miss Sauls' service to our community as well. Miss Amy Standard. Miss Standard is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Oak Hill Elementary School, and we congratulate you and celebrate you as well, Miss Standard. Miss Nafisa Muhammad. Miss Muhammad is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Porterdale Elementary School. We congratulate and celebrate Miss Muhammad as well. Miss Linda Hammond. Ms. Hammond is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Rocky Plains Elementary School. Congratulations, Ms. Hammond. We thank you for your service. Ms. Kim D. Mills. Ms. Mills is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for South Salem Elementary School. Congratulations, Ms. Mills. We honor and celebrate you as well. Ms. Stacy Rogers. Ms. Rogers is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for West Newton Elementary School. Congratulations, Ms. Rogers. We appreciate your service. Ms. Damielle Johnson. Did I say it right? I got it, yeah. Ms. Damielle Johnson. Ms. Johnson is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Clements Middle School. Congratulations, and we honor and celebrate you. Ms. Tricia Harper. Ms. Harper is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Cousins Middle School. Congratulations, Ms. Harper. We honor and recognize your service. Ms. Deborah Peterson. Ms. Peterson is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Indian Creek Middle School. Ms. Peterson, thank you for your service. We are grateful. Ms. Felicia Hodges. Ms. Hodges is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Liberty Middle School. Congratulations, Ms. Hodges. We are grateful for your service to our children. Ms. Alexandria Boyington. Ms. Boyington is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Alcovey High School. Thank you, Ms. Boyington, for your service to the students of Alcovey High School. Ms. Beth Bowman. Ms. Bowman is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Eastside High School. Congratulations, Ms. Bowman. Thank you for your service. Mr. Scott Quinlan. Mr. Quinlan is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Newton College and Career Academy. Congratulations, Mr. Quinlan, and thank you for your service. Ms. Kimberly Lane. Ms. Lane is the 2018-19 Teacher of the Year for Fairview Elementary School, and she was also one of our runners-up for District Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Ms. Lane. We are proud of you and grateful for your service. Mr. Cliff Roberts. Mr. Roberts is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Veterans Memorial Middle School, and he also was one of our runners-up for District Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. Roberts. We are very proud of you. And finally, Mr. Lewis Kelly. Mr. Kelly is the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year for Newton High School and the Newton County School System's Teacher of the Year. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. We are grateful for your service, and congratulations to you to having been selected as the District Teacher of the Year. Finally, I know we've just finished clapping, but I would love it if we could congratulate all of our Teachers of the Year once again for a job well done. Would also like to take this moment to thank our school administrators who are here this evening and who attended in support of their Teachers of the Year. Thank you for your service and your commitment to our schools and our children and our community. Mr. Turner, this concludes the recognition for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Ferry. On behalf of Ms. Ferry, Superintendent of Schools, and the Newton County Board of Education, we'd like to extend our gratitude to each and every one of you for your hard work in making our students successful, and we will continue doing the things that we need to do to support you, to provide the necessary tools and equipment that you use to continue your success with the students in the schools. Again, thank you very much, and we'd like to give you all another round of applause.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some of you probably ready to go home and cook dinner and other things you got to take care of. But if you have to leave, we wish you would stay. But if it's necessary that you actually have to leave now would be a good time for you to leave. And again, thank you very much.
The elementary teachers are going to bed now. They got to leave them so early.
Clear out.
Thank you. Ms. Sanders.
Sure, I can't hardly remember. That's a different program. Ms. Fury, I understand we have some public participation at this time.
Yes, Mr. Turner, we do.
Okay, we have Mr. Johnny Stone. Well, sir, you come down. First of all, we'd like to read you school policy as it relates to public participation.
Okay. Mr. Stone, we have a microphone right there that you can use. I have to read this right quick to you. Public participation is a time that the board has set aside to encourage you as members of our community to voice your opinion on a matter, either included on or excluded from the printed agenda. A maximum time of 5 minutes will be allotted to a single individual or a single topic based on the number of requests. Complaints against any employee of the school system will not be heard unless the complaint has been submitted in writing to the superintendent at least 7 days prior to the board meeting. If unresolved, any personal complaints about school personnel must be put in writing for the board to review in executive session. Personal attacks against any member of the board will not be tolerated. Once the time for public participation has passed, discussion of topics will be restricted to board members only. Thank you in advance for complying with this request. Chairman, we have Johnny Stone. You already said his name, but we have Mr. Johnny Stone.
Okay, Mr. Stone, go ahead, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm coming here to talk to you about the school tax on seniors. Most counties, I have a list here of 15, 20 counties that border this county, that give seniors at 65 a 50% reduction in school tax. At age 70, they do away with school tax altogether. Now, your policy is that you give no break to seniors regardless of age. That, if you want people that are seniors to pay school tax till they die, I have nothing against. But I do have this. When you are married, you and your spouse, me and mine, for 42 years have paid school taxes. And we live in our home. And we are drawing, like most families now, you live on Social Security. Because pensions are becoming a thing of the past, and there's more and more seniors that are just living on Social Security. The 401ks are gone in 10 years. But this is my objection. when a spouse dies, you lose half the income for your home. And if you paid school taxes like I have for 73 years, it seems like the only fair thing to do would be to cut that tax in half if you lose a spouse. And I'm asking y'all to do that.
Okay, we really appreciate you coming, sharing your feelings about that, and we will have some discussion as it relates to tax reduction for seniors. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other? Okay, having none, need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'm sorry, I actually would like to amend the agenda.
Okay,
I'd like to amend the agenda to go back in executive session at the end to continue personnel matters.
okay, having a motion to amend the agenda to return into personnel, into the executive session to discuss personnel matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same?
No.
No.
I'm not able to tonight. I'm sorry.
Same here. Same here.
Okay, so motion fails. So I need a motion to approve the original agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve the original agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, one objection. Okay, passes, okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes, please.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Balin, motion by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Superintendent's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would first like to begin with the financial report. The special purpose local option for education sales tax, otherwise known as East Blost 4, distribution for June was $1,066,533, which is an increase of $8,773 from the previous month. The average for the first 43 months of East Blost 4 collections is $946,826. The monthly average for East Blost 3 was $881,483,000. The title ad valorem tax collection for June was $82,986. Moving on to strategic plan connections. At Rise Academy, students have earned 37 course credits and 8 out of 12 students passed their September mid-month end of course exams. One student has completed all requirements for graduation and will begin technical college in January 2019. This is connected to student achievement and success. Some 4th and 5th grade teachers attended a fluency training on September 27th to learn strategies for helping to support fluency in classrooms, along with the research relevant to mathematical fluency. The teachers learned strategies to reinforce prerequisite skills in addition to strategies to help with their current fluency standard. Teachers took away hands-on activities that could be implemented the next day in their classrooms that were differentiated to meet the needs of their students. This ties to high-quality workforce and student achievement and success. Elementary art teachers met during the early release day to share ideas on promoting art education across our district. And that, of course, relates to high-quality workforce and student achievement and success. All Title I schools have revised their school-wide Title I plans and are working to implement school improvement strategies to improve student achievement and effective teaching practices. Schools will use Title I funds to provide supplies, materials, services, and interventions to support learning in the classroom. These initiatives will be monitored on an ongoing basis and evaluated at the end of the school year to determine effectiveness. This ties to student achievement and success and high-quality workforce. Christy Porter Black, who is the special education transition coach, worked with various middle schools and Rise Academy teachers on transition planning. Each special education 8th grade teacher participated in transition plan training, resources, and services. Transition is the movement from school to post-school environments. The special education transition plan includes the skills necessary for the student to be successful in education, employment, and independent living after completion of high school. And this ties to high-quality workforce. Regarding the enrollment for the previous month, we had a total of 19,754 students, which is an increase of 97 more students this year at this time than last. And that concludes this portion of the superintendent's reports.
Thank you, Mr. Roundtree.
You're welcome.
We have a presentation at this time.
Hi, Dr. Barr could not be here tonight, so he asked me to step in for him. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just going to do a quick background. In the last, as you all know, school safety has been one of our major priorities. It's built into our strategic plan, but even before we updated our strategic plan, we began to look at safety plans, had a national consultant come in to help us with that. We've updated our safety in our buildings with the entryway buzz-in system that we have now. And last year we began to research electronic platforms that would assist us with our safety planning and our safety response and post-vention regarding any safety issue that may occur. Today we have a representative of Crisis Go, which is one of the companies that we had looked at and listened to their presentation. His name is Bill Reynolds. He's actually the co-founder of the company Crisis Go, and he is currently the VP of Sales. I'm going to now bring him up here so he can begin to speak with you about his program.
Thank you, appreciate it. First off, for the 3 remaining teachers of the year, congratulations. We appreciate your service. Again, my name's Bill Reynolds. I'm the co-founder of Crisis Go. I want to walk you very, very quickly through a pretty extensive platform that we have. And just a little bit about us. We brought the platform to market about 6 years ago. We currently work with about 15,000 schools across the country. We are a preferred solution partner of the AASA. Some of the partners that we have, and I'll talk a little bit about why these folks are important: school counselors, school PR, school psychologists. Our platform works on virtually any device that you have, so both your Mac and PC, your tablets, as well as your Chromebooks and your Android and iOS phones. This is a suite of tools that we are presenting to the board and to your district, and we're going to go through these really, really quick. So hang on and we'll go. The very first tool that you will have, you've got the ability to send an alert out, whether district-wide or to a single building within the district. The alerts can be set up to notify a specific group, whether it's your bus department or, like I said, the entire school. Whenever that alert goes off, the person that is sending out the alert clicks on the alert type and then presses send. Once that goes out, it is going to immediately connect all the staff that should receive that alert with an audible tone. I'll skip that real quick. With an audible tone, knowing that there's a situation going on. If a staff member has their phone on silent or vibrate, it will actually override that sound. We also have fast alerts, so it allows you to get to that function much quicker. So there's just a single click to get to that. I'll skip through some of these slides real quick. And again, this is also on your desktop, so many staff don't want to put this maybe on their personal device. Again, any district-issued device it can be installed on. We also have a panic button, so this is more of a personal call for help, whether it's a medical emergency or an irate person at the front of the desk. Whenever that panic button is pushed, again, it's going to give your safety team an audible sound. It's going to give the staff member the ability to cancel that within 5 seconds. If they are in a true panic, they can hit send again, and it'll immediately go out. That connects that staff member with your safety response team for that building. It's an audible tone, again, overriding your silent, and then connecting that staff member with a two-way communication. So Miss Smith on the left, she might see a suspicious person out in the parking lot, snap a picture, take a quick video, and then send that to the safety team. So very easy way to support that. If you see something, say something. It will also enable their GPS on their phone. Should they be away from the district, it can GPS locate that person. We also have escalation. Escalation, depending on the alert type, down at the bottom you see active shooter. Once that button is pushed, if need be, you can escalate to local law enforcement. This would require the law enforcement to have crisis go, but since you are a countywide district, many schools that are similar to you in a countywide situation do ask their local law enforcement to put this on their squad cars. We're not saying don't make a 911 call. All we're doing is saying this gets to them much quicker. So you might have a person, law enforcement officer driving by a school. By the time dispatch puts that back around, he might be a mile or two away from that building. So a much quicker response from law enforcement. It actually puts that law enforcement into the group so they can see what's transpiring at that location in real time. So they know and they can prepare as they're heading to the scene exactly what to expect. Emergency communications, you have the ability to set up unlimited two-way messaging groups. So this might be superintendent to principals, it might be principals to staff, it might be your SROs or your safety team. Again, unlimited groups. And again, just that two-way functionality. You can send text, voice to text, pictures, files, whatever you need to be able to send through that two-way messaging. Accounting for people in a crisis, so you can send your staff a check-in, and basically that, and again, you can format whatever questions that you want here. Are you okay, yes or no? But just a quick way to take a real quick survey of your building to make sure that everyone is safe. That question might be, have you left the building? Have you exited the building for maybe a fire drill or something like that? Roster, we integrate with your student information system to provide accounting for students. And as you see here, you can do a roster event, so the principal can call a roster event and be able to let the teachers check in the students just to make sure that they are accounted for. Now this is this is a roster, so it's going to look for all the students that are enrolled in school. So if Johnny is at the orthodontist, someone still needs to account for him that he's not there. You get too many false positives if you're relying on attendance. Again, I'll just kind of flip through these. Quick and easy ways to be able to expedite that. You can do a long hold on a child's name, and it would pull up their emergency contacts that's based in your student information system. So as a teacher, I can call a parent probably within seconds. I'm not for sure what we're doing here. Not for sure what's happened. Okay. I think we had a hiccup with our clicker. Again, this is just the finalization of that roster event. Reunification. So we work with the I Love You Guys Foundation, if you guys are familiar with that organization, to follow their reunification plans. So in the event that you have to evacuate a building and release students from a rally point or a secondary location, our tool helps you do that very quickly and very easily. Down at the bottom, you'll see the number of students missing. That they're not really missing, they just haven't been accounted for yet. And as staff begin swiping those children in, making sure that they're accounted for, they move over to the kid hold area. Once the parents come to pick them up, they go to the transferred area. And then once they've been released, they get released to the parents, and they follow that reunification path. Drill scheduling and reporting. This is a great tool. This is a new feature that we've recently added. Being able to load all of your buildings into the platform, and then presetting all the drills that are required to be done at the school. If there's a deficiency, if there's a building that has not done their drill, you can preset that in advance to notify principal or whoever that might be, safety director, that in this case, Brooks Academy School has not done their active shooter for that month. So it would send them a reminder to get that done prior to month end. Checklist and maps. We upload your emergency response plan, your all hazards plan. We make that role-based and actionable. The phone in the center, you see this is your all hazards plan for an active shooter. If for some reason I can't do one of those processes, we click on the small box to the right. It would open up the comment box, and maybe here I put the door in room 203 will not lock from the inside. So this is a really good tool to use for your drills. We also upload your maps and evacuation routes, shut-off valves, things like that for your schools, as well as your emergency contacts, both internal and external. You can set viewing privileges to this, so if you don't want certain staff members to see your outside contacts or maybe the school board members' personal cell phone numbers, you can definitely do that. We do have a full bullying platform that is, this tool is actually completely free. There's no purchase necessary for this tool, but allows for a student or a staff member to report a bullying or anonymous tip. That can be anonymous as well. Once that tip or bully report is submitted, it would go back to the primary person at the school or at the district that would be responsible for either sending that to a counselor or someone to follow up. From here, you can, again, send that to the person. They can do the investigation, the follow-up, all the documentation that's required to do that. It's saved into the system, so if you need to send this information up to the state, you can pull the information that needs to be sent and send that into a nice document. This is kind of just a quick screenshot of the reporting that's available. The platform itself can also be used for other things, safety assessment, risk assessments, facility audits, bus safety checklists, so a lot of different tools that this can be used on a daily basis. The safety awareness, this is where the information from school counselors and school psychologists come in. We feel that it's a school's responsibility to not only educate the students, but also to educate the parents. A lot of times nowadays, parents are just not aware of what they need to have those discussions with their kids about. So we've got a content library full of social emotional content, bullying, cyber safety, weather-related safety. You can also create your own cards within the system and send them out to a very specific group of people. So the analogy that I use, it's coming up on Christmas time, you could actually send your parents out a safety card and talk about cyber safety. You know, kids get new devices at Christmas time. What's some of the things that a parent needs to talk to the kids about, things like that? So that's where those partnerships come into play. And again, those can be delivered to staff, students, or parents, and any specific group within those. We do have a student-friendly app that allows for the students to report bullying, but then on top of that, we also have the ability to locate students who ran for safety. As you can see in the Parkland shooting, many students actually ran off of campus. If you follow the run, hide, fight protocols or something like that, you might have 20 or 30 kids that have ran off of campus. But being able to still account for those, because you're still responsible for those, you can send a message out quickly to the kids if they have this on their personal device or a district-issued device, asking them to do just a quick check-in. So quick and easy tools. You could ask a student to press the panic button, and you could actually GPS locate them exactly where they're at. That is my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, but I really do appreciate your time. Do you want me to stick around until after anything, or I'm good, whatever y'all want to do?
You have some questions? I
Actually,
have some, you go ahead.
well, I don't really have a question for you. I mean, on the face, looks great. I'm all for anything that we can do. I mean, it's got a lot of options to it that I think are great, but is this something, I want to ask the teachers, I mean, is this something that you really think that would be beneficial to y'all in the classroom? I mean, I know you probably agree with me that we want, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm sorry, I apologize.
You're the teachers of the year, so you get a voice
But,
here.
you know, is it, you know, it's just, I mean, I just honestly, before we spend, you know, a large amount of money on it, would this be something that is useful? I mean, like I said, on the face, it does look like something that I would love to have, especially tracking the kids.
Yeah.
They were to run off and that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
And I would say that you can implement in phases, so it is a lot to do at one time, all this in the same year. So we'll develop a plan with you, how you want to roll this out if
Okay.
you choose to. Our closest customer is Fulton County, so we're not too far away.
Does it integrate with our camera system? Do we know that yet?
Our platform is built in what we call an open API, so depending on your camera system, it's very possible that it could.
I had a couple of questions. Number one, how many other systems are using this particular system?
We work with about 15,000 schools across the country. So, and again, the closest is Fulton County.
So the phone calls, they are made by way of cell phone? or-
Okay, no, everything is through push notification using the app. We're not really reaching out to the parents, so this isn't like your school messenger or your Blackboard Connect or whatever you guys might be using. This is more of an internal tool for your staff internally. Most everything goes out just via push notification.
Okay. And my other question is, there has to be some type coordination with the law enforcement.
If you choose to have the
Choose to do that.
escalation, yes. If you choose to have that escalation feature where they would get notified as soon as that button's pushed, then yes, there needs to be some sort of work with your local law enforcement, yes.
Another question I have is, will it identify, have y'all had issues with students pushing buttons to disrupt classes?
No, because the students really don't have the ability to do that type of stuff. They're more of really the only thing a student can do is report a bullying incident. They wouldn't have access to all the tools. Everyone is assigned a username and password, so if a parent downloads the app, they're not going to get in and see your maps or your safety plans or anything like that. It's very specific to your organization. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But to answer the question, no, the kids can't push the button if they want to get out of a test for the day.
I have a question, Chair. So my question is, you said the closest county that you have to us is Fulton. So when I think of Fulton, I think of a city district that has great broadband and Wi-Fi. So my issue is that we have schools that don't have good reception.
Sure.
But yet this has to be on your technology device. So how many districts do you have like that? Because we would be paying a fee for this.
Yes.
So I have to kind of figure
Yeah.
out, would it be worth it if we have
Sure.
like a school that does not get good reception?
Yeah.
That school would not be able to
I get
utilize
it.
it.
So our platform operates on 3G, 4G, and Wi-Fi. So if you have Wi-Fi in the building, you're connected.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the districts that we work with are probably very similar in size. Fulton is probably one of our larger customers. The other one would be probably Boston Public and soon to be Pasco County, Florida. Those are probably our three largest customers.
What about a rural or?
Do a lot of rural schools.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got the school district that I grew up in Southern Illinois, they use it. They've got one building and 600 kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill, can
Yeah.
you talk about how each person, each level safety, our safety plan is built with levels, like there's a district level of what we do during a bomb threat, and then there's a teacher level, there's a front office level and a principal level. Can you talk about how your platform works within that?
Yeah, so as the various roles within your organization, if you're a teacher, if you're a board member, if you're administrative person, you have certain duties that you need to do in different types of crisis. So we are pre-configured to know exactly, what's your role in the district and what you should do in the event of, like you said, a bomb threat, tornado, whatever. So a teacher would have certain responsibilities different than maybe a management person would have at the district. So it is role-based, based on your role and what you need to do during that event.
And that was one of the attractive things to us is instead of them, we can't memorize everything that we need to do, and even if we do in a crisis situation, we're not trained like police officers or other people who deal with crisis situations on a regular basis. So we need that in our hands, and everybody needs it in their hands, but right now it's in a notebook or it's in a file on the computer. If something happens and the alert is sent out by an administrator or somebody who's and even if they don't have their personal device, if they're in the building, there's any of the devices that are connected to our network, it will work. And if an alert is sent out, then in the teacher's hands, in the custodian's hands, in everybody in the building's hand, they have each step that they need to go through for that certain event. Also the rosters, the integration of the rosters and being able to check them in. And I don't know, for years we've done the slide a card under a door, you put a green one under if everybody's in there. Well, what that became is The green card means there's a bunch of targets in there. So if there's an active shooter in the building, then we've just tagged that room. But if we're doing it all digitally, then we have those rosters, we have them checked off. Each teacher can check off, okay, each kid, these are the kids that are in here. This kid is not, but then another teacher has the ability to add kids to their roster. So if Johnny is in the hall and Ms. Jones pulls him in, Johnny's added to Ms. Jones' roster.
The chair recognizes people, not me. I keep putting my hand up waiting to be called on.
The question I had was a concern, and that is, how often will we train? Because we constantly rotate teachers in and out.
Training is built into what we're
Yeah, so,
looking at
so
here.
training is built into the platform, so you've got a lot of reference videos and stuff like that. What we have learned over this last year is if you use the platform for your drills, and I'm sure you're probably required almost monthly to do some sort of drill, that gets the teachers using the system. They're not afraid to push the button. They're not afraid to do this. So when you do your drill reporting, again, monthly, it's a great way to be able to do that. It reports all your stuff that you needed to do anyway for your drills, but it gets you that everyday use or that daily use and being able to communicate.
So once we have these drills with this system, after we do the drill, will there be enough debriefing to iron out any bugs that may have happened, to reevaluate some of the procedures that we have?
Absolutely, and we actually, principals do that anyway, and there are a couple in here who can attest to that. When they do a drill, they do debriefings with their staff to talk about what they needed to polish or what went wrong and what went right. So that, yes, that would be, it's always been a part of what we do with drills, but it would be a part of this too. One of the other things that we asked, and I think somebody said something similar to this, but the alert buttons, panic buttons, they're not always there for everyone, but in some cases you can push the panic button out. Can
Yes.
you talk about that?
Yeah, so the staff member does have the ability to hit that panic button, so whether it's on their laptop or desktop that they've got in front of them in the classroom, if they're out in the playground, they've got that panic button there. If they need help, they can call for it, so, yeah.
But sometimes it won't always be there and you can pop it up on the screen, right? I mean, it's not active at all times.
Well, it's not active. To my knowledge, I don't know that we've ever had anyone that has accidentally pushed the panic button. Yeah, I think that's what you're worried about.
That's, yeah.
That's better.
Okay, so, Mr. Berry, I like the roster check-in versus the green card.
Yeah,
That was a good
we quit
one.
that green card stuff. But,
However,
we need an option.
I do have a question about the alert. So the alert was a siren, and,
Yeah, we've got several tones that you can choose from.
because, so as a therapist, that's a little anxiety provoking for an inmate called student chaos, so that was going to be my
Yeah,
question.
I've asked actually to change that siren on my, to me,
Yeah,
it
that's
sounds like
really-
the nuclear attack or something.
Yeah,
so-
it does, okay.
So there will be an alert tone?
Yes,
Okay, the reason why I asked that, because an alert tone, if there is an active shooter, that can somewhat divert him or her
absolutely.
to give law enforcement
Yeah.
time to get in.
We actually
and get
use our
them out
tool in the
building.
office, and sometimes if I'm at a presentation somewhere, I'll hit it just to aggravate the people at the office, but our whole office goes off. I mean, you hear it everywhere, so.
And the question that you asked about service, as I said, anybody inside will have a hardwired or something that they can get to inside that's connected to our Wi-Fi. The kids are on the Wi-Fi somehow anyway. But the cellular ability, what that helps with is if they're outside, if they're on the playground and somebody comes out of the woods or there's something going on that they can see, like the building, that the building can't see. You know, that something that may happen that they're outside and they have an ability to alert when they normally would not have that ability unless they have a walkie or something.
And you may have said that, I may have missed it, but if the button is activated, does it also activate a map search?
If their panic is pushed, then yes, it will
The reason-
ask them if they would like to enable their GPS. They just click yes, and then it starts pinpointing.
The reason I asked that question, because of bus drivers, that they may be out somewhere.
Yeah.
And they may only have time to push, we need to know where they are.
Yeah, and they could do that. It actually, kind of like the running apps or the biking apps, it will actually ping that phone every 30 seconds. So if that person is, is on the move, you will be able to track that.
And we kind of skipped over the slide about escalation. Can you talk about how we control the escalation and who it goes to?
Yeah, so like we said, escalation, you can choose to have your local law enforcement be able to receive that push button. Again, only certain crisis types, active shooter, gun on campus, bomb threat, whatever you guys choose to have that. And as we talked about, this is your plan. It's not a canned safety plan or anything like that. This is your plan. So, but yeah, I can escalate to law enforcement quickly. And kind of in closing, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions, this is no more different than whenever I was a kid, and maybe most of you guys. Teachers pulled out their grade book that was in pencil and paper, and they checked the attendance, and they checked the grades, and they wrote the grades down. The automation that went into the student information system, this is just an evolution of school safety into a modern technology platform.
Okay.
So, I'm happy to answer any more questions.
Any other
Well,
questions?
not necessarily a question, but I'm, from an administrative point of view, I am for the latest information to protect our students.
Thank
But
you.
also, I have a serious concern that we're not just going after the latest app, and we've spent taxpayer dollars and systems up to this point.
Sure.
So I'm very concerned that, one, we're leaving the end user out on this approach. And I won't go forward in a positive manner until we got our teachers and our principals totally involved and support this process.
Sure.
And you never get, we're gonna drop this app or clean your plate off for the teachers. We always add. You don't see anything being taken away. And
I
I'm one
agree.
of those advocates. If it's not taken away, then we shouldn't put anything new on there.
Yeah.
So
But again,
I need that from
yeah.
our superintendent and
Sure.
Mr. Berry as to what this going to do beyond what we got.
And that's how we looked at this, is not, and I'm never for adding, and Mr. Terry could say that, I mean,
I remember
we
that
want.
one.
But we see this as an enhancement and something that will make safety, we've already got safety plans, and as I said when I first stepped up here, we have the plans. Everybody has them. But to be able to put them in the palm of everybody's hand and give them step-by-step directions in something that everyone carries around or is sitting in front of in their classroom, that's really attractive, and we saw it as an enhancement, not something new and added, but something that will help us do what we need to do. And again, the roster checkoff, so that administrators, whether I'm sitting here, like if we're, say I'm the command for the district, I can sit here and determine whether or not everybody is in her class, or where they are.
And I
So-
guess the other thing that I'm concerned about, number one, is reviewing the camera system that we have in place now to make sure we're getting the most out of it. Can that do some of the things that this is doing, which won't put a lot additional stuff on the teachers because they got the camera now, and then we're gonna give them an app they have to use. Are we getting the best for our dollar out of the camera system? that
I
we have?
understand. And that's one of the things that we talked about, and is to try to integrate those two things, and hopefully that's something that's possible. And we could investigate that further.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
The only thing that I'll say is we've been vetted out by the AESA, the Superintendents Association, and working with 15,000. We're by far the largest platform like this that's in the industry. When we first came to market almost 6 years ago, there was nobody doing this. There's a lot of people that will do a bully report or a panic button, very siloed. But if you look at the entire safety as a school, as a unit, there's not a company that does everything that we do within the platform, as well as being able to integrate with camera systems, your visitor management systems, all of that type of stuff.
Mr. Bailey?
Mr. Berry, what other systems did you look at? I mean, what were?
Navigate Prepared is the other. It's really these two players are the two, and they're very similar, but he says they're better. But we did look at both, and we got in-depth presentations from both
Okay.
Navigate Prepared and Crisis Go, and this was the one that we thought would fit our needs more. It's a really, because of some of what Mr. Johnson says, it's a more simple. And I don't think this is an insult to it. It's more like, like the difference
to be
between
intuitive, yeah.
between an iPhone and an Android is the iPhone is so much easier to use. This is a little bit, it's simpler, and the interface is quicker, which there's less to have to decipher while you're in that crisis mode, because everything is right in your face.
Thank you.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
You gonna hire me on the side?
I've got one more brief question,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's an annual fee, and
Yes.
this is, contract is for 1 year. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And for what it's worth, we did discount it pretty good for you guys. We want to get another good customer in Georgia, so you guys are getting a good price.
They always say that.
No, I don't always say that. Matter of fact, I've had a couple of schools, I've made them sign a non-disclosure on their pricing. So,
We want that price.
yeah, there you go. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm here as a future teacher.
All right.
But I am a parent of a Newton County student that lives in elementary. And I was curious, I just learned in my iTech class about hackers. Is this system safe
Yeah.
from hackers to where, it's got GPS on the kids and it's like, my child's name in there,
Yeah.
I
So-
don't want you hacking in and find my kid.
So we're FERPA compliant. For those folks that know about FERPA, we're FERPA compliant. And I think we've sent the security white paper, but we're all encrypted up and down we're cloud-based, so nothing to install on your servers here. But yeah, we've passed all those tests. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I want to drive back to Nashville. If anybody needs to go, I'll be happy to give you a ride. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No further discussion. I need a motion to,
I actually had discussion, you went right over it, Mr. Chair, though, it was about item B. Mr. Roundtree, I actually just wanted to commend him on recognizing item number 4 under strategic plan connections, which had to do with Rise Academy. Many times we forget about our at promise students, so I do appreciate you for recognizing an achievement that they have.
okay, if there are no other discussions on any of the items A through D, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve items A through D as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms.
Excuse
Baker.
me, wait a minute. You approving all of this now?
Not,
No, the superintendent reports,
just the report.
just the report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They are all labeled A through, like, the letters are the same. You're right.
Yeah, under Superintendent's Report.
So I have a motion by Ms. Baker and a second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. We have no old business. We'll move to new business. Item A.
Ask me again. And this is related, obviously, to the presentation we just had. The superintendent recommends the safety software solution needed for school system to be purchased from Crisis Go of St. Louis, Missouri. Crisis Go is a comprehensive safety software solution that consolidates an organization's safety communications into one central platform. It enhances stakeholders' ability to recognize, prepare for, address, and review incidents. The mobile app allows for staff to send alerts, access emergency plans, and documents regardless of internet connectivity, and provide communication links between system, safety personnel, and/or first responders. The school system will utilize a contract established by the Washington School Information Processing Cooperative to procure the software. The total contract value is $25,850.00. This cost will be paid with budgeted FY19 general funds. It is correlated with strategic goal area 4, organizational and operational effectiveness. Attached to this recommendation in your documents is the quote for this program.
Okay, I need a motion to approve items under A, please.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, do I have a second?
Question?
Need a second?
A second, move it
Second by
forward.
Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Do we have to approve this tonight? Why?
That was going to be my same question. Based on principle alone of hearing the presentation and having to make a decision on the presentation that night, on principle alone, I would rather have a time to look at it. And I think we've talked about this before.
With attaching the budget item.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Where's
we
budget?
don't, yeah, it's just, it could be, didn't get a copy of the presentation till tonight, right? Like, this isn't something y'all can tell me, hey, you could go do your homework. This is the first I've seen this information. I'd rather wait to make the decision personally. But go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
And it goes along with what I just said earlier. I mean, how can I comply with my own statement? And we're gonna approve it tonight. And I said, the end users, they don't know this is coming. I guarantee you, we haven't covered. I don't want to put you in the spot, but you know anything about this? I mean, that's sad, from my perspective. I'm sorry to do that, but it's a matter of principle. Why do we bring a thing in like this and approve it overnight, 25 grand, and nobody knows about it? I can't support this. I want to, but we just violate some basic procedures here. In my view. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I could call for a vote. Like I said, I think we need a little bit more time.
I actually didn't know it was for action tonight. I mean, I
Yes,
thought
for
it was
action,
one,
yes.
yeah, I
And
mean,
plus, have any of the staff been introduced to this? Do they know how it works?
no, we have
So-
just us has reviewed it.
So I think, they need, the staff and the teachers need to have a buy-in or something, because it's going to really affect them.
I think along with, in the past, we have requested, I mean, we just have to do things in decent order. That's why I don't care about saying no. But, in the past, we have requested that the line item also be provided, where it's coming from out of the budget. I know Mr. Johnson has asked about that. Mr. Bailey has also asked about that as well, so.
So we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, aye. All opposed, no?
No.
Item B.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the new and improved Mike Barr. For at least the next three items. Item B is with regard to the print management program. The superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for print management services be renewed with Rico USA of Malvern, Pennsylvania. Basically, this is a continuation of something we've done for a number of years. As you know, we have a strategic partnership with Rico. They supply our copiers to our schools. They supply our machines there at the copy center and staff that. Since the program was initiated, we are averaging right now about 422,221 copies a month, while still maintaining our goal of a 2 to 3 day turnaround, and that's from the time that is approved. And so we have an approval process that goes to APs or principals, whomever they choose, and that's all automated. It goes back, goes into the system, and then it's delivered by our couriers out to the schools in that time frame. And in that same time, we've realized, I think, a conservative aggregate savings of about $42,000 just from right-sizing the fleet and from a reduction of machines, lease payments, copy cost, et cetera, at the schools and facilities. Basically, the estimated cost for the program is $190,000. The cost will be paid for with a combination of FY19 general and capital funds.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve item B, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions or concerns?
Yes, I have one.
Mr. Johnson?
Help me understand the additional costs that you're asking here. Is it the 190 for the entire program?
Yeah.
What is the previous cost?
Yes, sir. Basically, it falls into, you have costs for your machines there at the copy center, and so that's least.
Excuse me, I'm asking
sorry.
for a summation of the cost. You're asking, saying this is $190,000.
Yes, sir.
What is the existing cost that it's costing?
Let's see, I think I can get you to that. If I can get my papers shuffled for you. Basically, we're spending right about $7,657 on our copy on our machines. The personnel and software is about $6,615. That's a month, so you're talking $14,272 a month. That averages out to be $171,264 for a year currently. The reason we bump that up is because what we are anticipating as it has grown, obviously, is to cover the cost, the additional cost. We are downsizing copiers at schools, so more and more volume is going to the copy center, so that costs more money. We're also upgrading the size and speed of our machines over there, and because we don't have obviously we can look at historical data, we can't tell you exactly how many copies we will run in the current year. We added just a little bit just to make sure if we don't spend that much, that's great, but we don't want to
Not have it.
bump up and say, oh my goodness, we're at our limit. We want to go back and, I don't feel like that would be a good service for us to say, sorry, we didn't get this right. We need to come back and ask you to give us $10,000 more.
Let me ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it's a good idea to present costs in a combination of categories? Why can't you separate this, as you stated, into a capital or general funds?
And we can yes, sir, we can do that. Basically, the costs for all of our equipment and things comes out of the capital side of things, and then the general fund covers the personnel and software, that piece. And so that.
I understand. I'm
Yes,
saying,
sir.
why can't you present it that way?
We certainly can, yes, sir. It's not a problem in doing that.
Any other discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same.
Aye.
Item C,
Okay. This is requested, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract awarded to McPherson Companies of Atlanta, Georgia for the utilization of the fuel card system for the transportation department be awarded for an additional term. Basically, in terms of rationale, what we were facing long ago is, we have one fueling station and 200 and some odd buses, and so that was causing a jam up and costing a lot of time and effort for people to come back and fuel. The fuel cards allow drivers to fuel at designated pre-approved sites along the driver's route within the district. The way those are decided, the buses for whom it's more cost effective for fuel site to be purchased off-site as opposed to driving all the way back to the service center every time are identified and they're designated to do so. The rest continue to come to the service center and fuel there. We figure in roughly in FY18, the use of the fuel card saved approximately $25,800 in fuel costs and about $32,400 in labor costs when compared to forcing everybody back 2 or 3 times a week back to the service center and the additional costs there. The fuel card has a number of safety measures, just like any of your credit cards personally that you have in your wallet. It can only purchase fuel, in fact, diesel fuel only. They can't drive up and carry a little can and buy some gas on the side to take home to their car. Can't buy food or anything with that. Secondly, the cards are pre-approved to the locations. Transportation personnel go out and designate sites, and these are the sites that those folk can use, and only those. Then third, they get the data in, and they're looking at that regularly to see, okay, do we need to move something around here? Do we need to move people out to a fueling station, or can we bring people back in? those kind of things. And so basically, we're utilizing a contract managed by the National Intergovernmental Purchasing Alliance to access the fuel card program. The estimated contract value there is $700,000. Of course, that's that we're trying to include the cost of fuel in that. That's not, the actual vendors pay just like you do with your credit card. A vendor, when you go to that station, they cover that cost for that transaction fee, if that makes sense.
Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item D.
This is requested board action relative to surplus property. As you see every month, we make a real effort to utilize everything that we have as often and as long as we can. When those things are not deemed necessarily needed by a school, we pick them up and try and reuse them or redistribute them until they really can't be used anymore. Once they've gone through their useful life, then we use one of the disposal processes that are approved methodologies as outlined in Board Policy DO, and we either sell them through an online auction, or if it can't be sold, if it's something that just has to be scrapped, we try and recycle them as much as possible and keep a minimal amount going out to the landfill.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve item D.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item E.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Recommended board action relative to purchase of laptop computers and accessories. Recommendation: the superintendent recommends the laptops, computers, and accessories needed for select schools be purchased from Dell Marketing, LP of Round Rock, Texas. Rationale: individual schools are allowed the flexibility to use their allotted Title I funds in a way that supports and aligns with strategies identified in their Title I school-wide plan. Accordingly, select schools have been chosen to invest in additional technology, which includes the laptops, the Chromebooks, and accessories. The school system will utilize a state of Georgia contract to procure the equipment. The schools and their associated costs are represented in the table that you have before you. The total cost of all of these expenditures is $197,448. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY19 Title I, Part A school allocations. And this item also is aligned to Strategic Goal 1, which is student achievement and success, as well as Strategic Goal Area 4, organizational and operational effectiveness.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve item E.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions or concerns?
I have a question, just out of curiosity. Your initial statement saying select schools and they've chosen to spend their Title I funds on the computers. What would be some of the other challenges that would have a school system or a school spend it elsewhere?
Well, each school receives a Title I allocation based on the number of students that they have that are receive free and reduced lunch. So that total amount of the allocation varies from one school to the other. So with that being said, some schools get a little bit more money and they could purchase, more technology. But overall, each school has the autonomy to look at the needs within their schools and select how they wish to use those particular funds. So it's still just based on the individual school's assessment of how they want to spend their money.
Okay.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes, ma'am.
if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
You probably can't answer this question, but I do wonder, and I think I've asked this before when Mr. Fayol have presented something with laptops, how the schools choose different laptops. And I do wonder why, like, so it looks like the elementary schools that are on the list, the majority chose the model number 3189, which is the more advanced model. But then Herb Missing chose 3180, which is not only a cheaper model, but since it's cheaper, you would think it, and the number is lower, you would think it's less advanced. And I know I've asked him that before. He says he lost the school to kind of choose. But I just wonder if they, I mean, if they know they could pick something higher.
Well, they do, because all of these options are on the technologies list.
Okay.
So, you know, they make the
Everybody else chose
determination.
the higher.
But they also look at which grade levels are using the equipment. And some lower grades may, a laptop or a Chromebook may be more familiar to them.
Okay.
Or more beneficial for them to use versus something else.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item F.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Item F before you for consideration tonight is facilities use at select schools. The superintendent recommends the approval of the use of gymnasiums at select schools by the Covington YMCA for youth basketball. The Covington YMCA has requested to use the gymnasiums at select schools for youth basketball. The YMCA is recognized as a school system partner and is thereby exempt from paying fees for use of the facilities. Principals at each of the schools have approved the requests. The schools and dates and times are provided in the table. We're talking about Live Oak Elementary and West Newton Elementary.
Okay, I need a motion to approve item F.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item G.
Requested board action relative to application for capital outlay funding. The superintendent recommends the approval of an application for capital outlay funding for fiscal year 2020 from the Georgia Department of Education. In March of 2018, the Board of Education approved a local facilities plan for the effective period of July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2022. Included therein are a number of facility improvement projects identified as priorities. Subsequently, a request for state capital outlay funding for the following projects has been developed by the Facilities Department and reviewed by the Georgia Department of Education. A summary of the projects for which funding is requested is tabulated below. I'll quickly mention each one. Clements Middle School, replace HVAC. Cousins Middle School, roof replacement. East Newton Elementary School, roof replacement. The total amount requested in state capital outlay is $2,342,998 with an estimated local match of $1,109,905 for an estimated total between state capital outlay and local match of $3,452,903. Once approved by this board, the executed application will be submitted to the Georgia Department of Education for final approval. Subsequently, the projects will be advertised for bid and presented back to this board for contract award. And this would happen next summer or next fall. That's the anticipated timing.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve item G, please. Motion by Mr. Bailey. Did you?
No, I was checking the timeline.
Get a motion and a second?
I'll motion.
Motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Bailey, second by Ms. Coggins. Okay, questions or concerns?
Yes, just through the document, it talks about estimated, architect estimated cost. So did we hire an architect to estimate these costs?
Yes.
All right, who did we hire to?
Our architect, Cunningham, Forehand, Matthews, and Moore.
Cunningham? Cunningham, what's the rest of it?
CFMM. It's Cunningham, Forehand, Matthews, and Moore.
Forehand, Matthews, and Moore.
I have a question. On some of this work like this, is it possible to bid some of this out?
If that's the board's pleasure, it could be, yes.
No question.
Mr. Johnson?
It has always been, for as long as I've been here, that when we come up with a job, a cost to do a job, that it be competitive bid. And I don't know why this function would be excluded. Because the architect company that you named, I think that company is on every building that we got here. It's almost a given that this would be handed to that company to do the work. Sad to say, but that's my impression. And we need to get away from that. Our integrity of doing that need much improvement. And I have to refer to the superintendent that we make sure that we're doing that and enforce through some type of additional instruction. Thank you.
One other question. Do we contract with anyone to handle the servicing of all our HV systems?
Repairs, yes, sir.
Okay, can they do it?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I want to be clear about what we are approving. We're approving just this outlay application, correct? Not the expenditure of any of these funds yet. Just want to be real clear about that, so that we don't, when it's,
Clear.
okay.
It's written right there.
Maybe I'm just trying
You
to
have
make
to complete
everything
the
clear for myself.
You have to complete this
Submit, yeah.
application in order to receive the funds from the state.
So we're
If you don't
approving
do
this application?
Yeah, that's all, just the application, and then what will happen is, once the application is approved and the funds are, given to us, then the bid process will go into effect, where the work will be bid out for people to, participate in the work and completing these jobs.
Excellent.
Excuse me. We have incurred cost on this job already,
Correct.
and there's no bid out there. See, and that's what we got to get in front of. I understand and agree with the outlay here, but the initial cost to pursue and prepare this, we did it by identifying an architect company that we want to do the job, period.
Just a correction on that. A lot of this work was done several years ago, and these figures were updated at no cost for this in March for the plan that was approved by the board. So just a point of clarifying.
Oh, yeah, but let me add back to, why are they doing it for no cost? Because they know they're gonna get the job.
I guess I don't understand what you mean by getting a job, what,
Well, we got a problem there, if you
no,
understand
no,
that.
I mean, but what they've done is they've created the information necessary in order to go to the state to say, this is approximately what it's gonna cost to do this job. So we've got to get the dollars from the state, otherwise we can't do it at all.
And then it'll be bid out.
I understand.
I guess I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying you got to go to somebody to develop this information, and that somebody,
Architect.
company, architect.
Yeah.
That should be bidded out to
So you're
give
saying
you
bid
that.
out the
the
architect. I got it.
Right.
That's the part that's not being,
Gotcha.
and I understand having a relationship with someone you trust and you're gonna get a good product from, like, I get that. But I guess we just want to have some more transparency about how often do you vet architects? Because we never have, we don't have that conversation here, so.
I think that to clarify things, what everybody's asking, number one, we got the estimate from the architect. The question is, will the architect do the job?
That'd be decided by this board.
So that's the question is, what if somebody else came in and they gave us an estimate that was more than what this is, and we're not gonna get the money that we actually deserve? That's my question, I guess, too, you know.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
It's decided by the board, you
I
guys.
know, I understand
No,
that.
so listen, so if that name comes across here,
It doesn't.
and but if it does, it should,
It doesn't.
actually.
It doesn't.
All
That's
the
my
people
point.
who are
That's
on the
Mr.
bid,
Johnson's point. It
no,
doesn't
but
come up
all the
here.
people who bid for it should come across, they make a recommendation for the bid. It should come across,
Okay.
they make a recommendation for that person. And if you see that the recommendation is that company, and you already have an issue with that company, this board can say no. You have the right to say no.
But I
I
just
think
we
we're talking about
understand.
the architect,
And I think
not
what the
bid
question is-
themselves, that's all. I
I
understand.
don't think
didn't
anybody
understand.
my concern, is there a set amount of money that the state will give us?
There is, yes, sir.
Okay, so if that's the set amount, then when it's bidded out, that's when the board can decide whether to accept that bid or not. That's where the clarity needs to come in. Everybody's assuming that you'll go with the architect. But that's not the case.
That's the problem, Mr. Chair. And we go back to my initial statement. If we contract out every dollar that we need for a function to be performed, then we will be in accordance with transparency.
Yeah, but
We
what-
got favoritism here, and I know the difference between favoritism and a working relationship.
I don't
We
think-
got favoritism here.
I think the
and it
issue-
should be stopped immediately.
It's not an issue.
It's not an issue?
Well, okay, what we're doing, we're getting someone to give us, it's a set amount of money that the state is giving us, period.
That's it.
So when they get an architect or whoever to give us a bid on it, then it's bidded out. So we make the determination as to whether we accept their bid or not.
Mr.
We're gonna
Chair?
get the same amount of money.
Mr. Chair, with deep regrets, you're wrong. The process you is wrong.
It's not the way I understand that either. And that, I think if we could just request the whole process be shown to us so we understand it better. It is also my understanding that the architect fees have already been spent. That's why we have this document. And the fees are now based off, what the state will give us now is based, their percentages based off of what the allotments are.
So
So
the
now,
work-
this architect, in a sense, I believe has already been paid for some of the work, whether it's not this or not, he did it for free or whatever. He's got to come in now and do this job. I don't know how you take it away from him if he's done all the
So
work.
what has he done?
Can y'all give me just a second to
Explain.
maybe sort out what y'all are talking about? I've been doing this for 20-so years, so let me see if I can boil it down for you. The application is what we're talking about tonight. It needs to be submitted by November 1st so that we can get 66% of the money to do these jobs from the state. If we don't want to do that, we can pay for it ourselves or not do the work. That's the option that's before you tonight for consideration. Now, if we want to hire a different consultant,
Architect?
sure, whoever, to do the design work for these jobs, that needs to be instructed to the superintendent, I guess, or whoever. And we can do an RFP process and determine if a new architect needs to be hired to do that. That could come back to this board for consideration,
Very helpful.
okay?
My question is, and I think for some clarity, have they done any of the work?
No, there's been no design work done
Okay.
on on any of these
So
projects.
they just
you
gave
see.
us an estimate,
That's correct.
and we did not pay them anything?
Years ago, it was paid.
Okay,
And these were,
okay,
and these were updated
Okay, that's
se-
where,
7 or 8 years ago.
that's where
And they were
everybody
updated
is
recently.
missing. Right. So we're clear. Everybody clear?
So if you want to have an RFP for the
I
design work,
don't have a problem with it now. I was under the impression we had already paid them some money, but we haven't. Okay, I'm cool. Anybody else, any further discussion?
I don't want to discuss it. I've stated how it should be.
Okay,
And we're using the old guidelines to do it. When are we going to stop and do it correctly? That's this is wrong, the process that we're using. Now, there's no rush on this. I don't know, we got to.
it's got to be submitted November 1st.
Okay, well,
November 1st.
It goes back to what we talked about earlier. Every combined meeting, we get into discussions like this, and we use the combined meeting guidelines as an excuse for not doing it correctly.
let me correct you there. This information was presented in March to this board. All of this information has been in y'all's hands since March for the application for the money. We're not talking about spending money on architects. We're not spending any money associated with this tonight. We're asking for money. We're asking for $2.3 million
Right,
tonight. That's what we're asking for.
okay.
If we want to hire new consultants, instruct the superintendent to do that, we can put together an RFP, procurement department's here. If that's the direction, that's,
We have all the
Pleasure.
information that's been presented. We've had some discussion. So call for a vote. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same?
Aye.
Motion, 4-1. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Item H,
Good evening.
good evening.
The superintendent recommends approval of the personnel items as outlined in executive session.
Okay, I need a motion to approve item H, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Mr. Bailey. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Other items of interest?
Quickly, we've had some incidents this week, past few days with children and students in our school system, and I just would want everyone to say a little prayer, especially for one particular child tonight,
Yes.
please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I want to take the time to give congratulations and my thanks to the performance of the employee base, if you will, throughout K through 12. And the reason for that is I think the school system, for their performance and the group, the leaders, especially in our graduation rate, that's what I'm referring to, we are exceeding the state average by a number that's historic. Our total graduation rate is higher than it's ever been. It's at a historic high, and this is a reflection of the job that all of our employees throughout the system that they are doing. And I believe that the format that we are engaging, we're going to produce better results in coming. And after saying that, we've still got a lot of work to do. And I want to especially thank the people at Newton High School for an 87% graduation rate. I just think we need to give them a round of applause. You know? And Miss Doctor, she's not in here, but a special thanks to her efforts also. Thank you very much.
Ms. Baker?
I just want to ditto what Abigail said. A lot of times we don't think about our students at such young age, go through a lot of things, but, you know, myself being a counselor, it gets younger and younger. I know Ms. Sams, you're a counselor by profession as well and stuff, and it's quite shocking some of the things that our children carry, the weight of emotional needs and stress they carry on themselves. So just kind of keep families in mind in that. And then as well as we wrap up October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'll be doing something special for any kind of community people that come out that's a breast cancer survivor at Thursday night's game, Newton High School football game. So if you have a breast cancer survivor in your family, please send them out. I have a little special treat for them when they enter the gate.
Ms. Vera?
Yes, I've got a couple of things. One, we released our ACT scores last week, and our district scores are up across the board. We've got Mr. Chur still here, high school principal, and our high school principals are working hard, and our middle and elementary school team is working really hard to backload so that we continue to improve our nationally normed assessments for college entrance and readiness. I think the SAT is still embargoed, but when is it released, Sherry? Thursday, but what I can tell you is that it matches the ACT. I'm not going to tell you all the numbers, but what I can tell you is that we are seeing some great results across the district in terms of the numbers of students who are taking ACT and SAT are going up or staying around the same, and the results continue to improve, which is not normally the trend. Now, I wish I could say the same thing about the state's method, the state's College and Career Ready Performance Index, which will be released sometime in the next 5 to 10 days. I'm not sure what to expect with that instrument because it never remains the same. And so I hope that I hope that it will reflect the same sorts of things that we see in our nationally normed assessments, but I'm not sure that it will. We really do need the state of Georgia to decide what it's going to do with the accountability tool that it uses so that our teachers and our school leaders and our district office staff can begin to continue to try to improve student outcomes as measured by the state of Georgia. But it is almost impossible because we still don't know, and I just heard from the state superintendent last Wednesday, and he said the instrument will change again. And so since 2012, this thing has not been the same. And to be honest, and I'm about transparency, and our teachers are here, and a couple of our school leaders are here, and I bet if they were to stand at the mic, they would tell you that it is so complicated and so changes so frequently that they cannot keep up with what exactly the state is measuring and how it's weighted and how it's scored. And to me, that's not a good system for our teachers. It's not a good system for our community. It's not a good system for our families, and it's definitely not a good system for our children. And so I'm hopeful that our strategic plan has a piece in the student achievement and success area that Ms. Anderson, who is one of our elementary school principals, Mr. Chur, a high school principal, and Ms. Keisa Taylor, who is a middle school principal, along with some teams, will begin to work on district quality indicators that we look at grade by grade to identify what a quality education looks like in kindergarten and first grade, and testing will be a small part of that. It won't be the only thing that we use to identify whether or not our students are receiving a quality education. You don't earn almost $30 million in scholarships in a year without a quality education. So I would say that we do a pretty good job in our system. I don't think that our accountability tool as a state's tool is where it needs to be just yet. So as that rolls out, and again, I don't even know when it will roll out, and it's based on last year's data. So I'm really excited about our nationally normed information. With that being said, I also have some additional news. If you'll recall, Principal Cody at East Newton Elementary School has decided to retire. And doing so, created a vacancy in the principalship at East Newton. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce the appointment of Mrs. Melissa Daniel as principal of East Newton Elementary School. Mrs. Daniel holds a Bachelor of Music from Shorter College in Rome, Georgia, attended the University of Georgia in Athens for graduate studies. She earned a Master's of Science in Educational Leadership from Nova Southeastern. She earned a specialist degree in educational leadership from Valdosta State University in Valdosta, Georgia. She has served the students and families of the Newton County school system for her entire career. She served first as a paraprofessional, a music specialist, an early intervention program specialist, a kindergarten teacher, a third grade teacher, a third grade early intervention program teacher as well. During her tenure as a classroom teacher, Mrs. Daniel served in a variety of leadership roles, even co-authoring the Newton County School System's first music curriculum guide. Mrs. Daniel is currently serving as an assistant principal at Live Oak Elementary School and has been there since 2010. She has been an integral part of the success of the Live Oak team and has been instrumental in facilitating a culture of high expectations. She's looking forward to the opportunity to serve the students, staff, and families that make up the East Newton Elementary School community, and I'm confident that her enthusiasm, knowledge, care, and commitment will lead to continued student and staff success. And Mrs. Daniel is here, introducing to everyone Mrs. Daniel, the new principal, November the 30th, or December the 1st, of East Newton Elementary School. Congratulations.
Ms. Baker,
I'm sorry, I forgot one last thing.
we
that is
normally
really
allow
important.
one comment
I promise
each
it's gonna
board
be
meeting,
fast.
so you don't get one
Y'all
next
always
week.
know I always forget something. I promise it's gonna be fast, because
Go
it's
ahead.
good news. So speaking of good news, next week is Leadership Georgia with exciting news, and I'm part of the class, so you'll have 63 leaders from across the state of Georgia, along with their spouses, coming to Covington. And you guys remember back in January, I said I'm going to get them to tour the Career Academy. So we will go to the Career Academy next week. So you'll have 63 marvelous leaders, including myself, in that class touring the Career Academy. So can't wait to for the other people across from the state of Georgia to see the wonderful works that we are doing over there.
Way to go. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Okay, anybody else? If nobody else, I need a motion to adjourn, please. Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same, motion carries.
Don't Don't hold it against me, though.